First thing I'd like you to do on this last example is, if you take out your red pen, add in the asymptotes.
Wait, you said the first one, you said it was 4, 5, 6, 7.
For question 1.
So you said 2 down to 3 and 4, 5,
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, and 7 for number 1.
Oh, okay.
And then for 2, 8, 9, and 10, and then 3, 12, 13, 14, 15. We skip 11, that's okay. So I want you to draw with red pen, x equals 0, draw a dotted line, and label y equals 0, just so that those asymptotes are really visible in your notes. Again, if you don't have a red pen yet, get one for this class so you have a couple of different colors. Describe how the graph of y equals 1 over x squared could have been translated to create the graph of each function below, and then what are the equations of the asymptotes of each image graph. First of all, in this question, I'm going to underline describe. There are 2 key words in questions, describe and explain. They require you to write in full sentences using words, no mathematical symbols or anything like that. So there has been a push in the last 10 years or so to increase students' literacy and numeracy. And so to help with the literacy part in math questions, they now have describe and explain. In math, we do all right at the numeracy part. We do teach a lot of numbers. But for increasing your communication skills, if you see describe, you have to say things in full sentence. So what would that look like for us? Well, first of all, if I was doing part A, I might, as a first step, move the 3 over to the other side. Because all the questions we've been doing so far, we've always had y equals. This just makes it a little bit easier. And here's our description. What does that plus 3 do? Translates it up 3 units, so the graph is translated three units up. So we write a full sentence describing what's happened. We've got some descriptive words like translated. Translated is when anything is moved up, down, left, or right. Same thing in part B. I would take the time to move the 4 over. And the graph is translated three units to the left and 4 units down. And in my head, I just reread the question and noticed that I didn't finish part A completely. I got so excited about completing part A, I did part B right away, but I reread the question. I'm supposed to also say what the asymptotes are. So let's go back to A and do a little bit of mental math with the image in our head. I don't want you to regraph this because that's going to be annoying. But what are we going to do? We're going to take this graph and shift it 3 units up.
Y.
Yeah, the y, the horizontal one, is going to change to y equals 3. Can you see that the vertical one, when you move it up and down, would stay at x equals 0? I mean, we could have drawn it out to see that for sure, but I think if we can imagine that in our head, we could answer that on its own. Second one, if I go 3 to the left, can you see that would change my vertical one? My vertical one which was at 0, it goes 3 to the left, changes to x equals minus 3. And my horizontal one, if I go 4 down, will be at y equals negative 4. And we're good. Read it over again. We've answered everything. I'll get you to write down 16 and 17 and circle those ones. And before we start 3.2, I am going to give you about 5 minutes right now to try some of those questions. And since you forgot your book, you can just read them over.
Yeah, I was,
You've got the basic ideas there.
Yeah.
And the videos will be there if you get
Yeah.
confused too.
no, I
But-
got it.
But yeah, you can just look it over all the questions.
Okay.
Okay. So, say your question again. You want to,
I wanted to find domain and range.
okay, yeah, domain and range, yeah. So what we do,
Actually, I defined domain. I have to find zeros and y-intercepts.
okay,
And for this, for the zero intercepts, I put y equals 0.
right.
And something like that. I don't know is that correct or not.
Okay. So when y is equal to 0, in this one, if you would have the equation, you put 0 in, then you have to multiply by x plus 1 on both sides to get rid of the fraction. When you do that, you would get 0 equals to 1. And that's not ever possible. In this graph, when we look, having the dotted line here, for this one, would have no x-intercepts, no zeros. So you would just write B, none. None. Yeah. This one, and this one, y-intercept, none. This one has a y-intercept at 0, 1, but again, no x-intercepts. This one does have an x-intercept, so this one you could put in 0 and solve for x.
Okay.
So if I take out here, pencil. So for this one, if I put in 0 equals 1 over x plus 3, and negative 3 equals 1 over x, multiply both sides by x. And so for D, x-intercept. Okay, but this one, if I put 0 equals 1 over x plus 1, then I multiply both sides by x plus 1, I get 0 equals to 1. And that's not true. That's why it's not.